There we go. I guess I had forgot to commit my changes for the C-bomb for the outline in the midst of everything else that was going on. So I quickly did that right before the meeting started because I noticed that I had a bunch of uncommitted changes, and I'm like, oh, what's all this? So I've got the outline basically done of the CBOM document. One thing that we'll probably end up doing, so there's going to be some duplication in here, specifically around probably the introduction. The linking and the attestations. Everything else will be unique to the CBOM doc. So what we'll probably end up doing is we'll still have the CBOM doc because that's going to be a nice little takeaway for um, uh, folks that are in kind of in this space like yourselves that may not necessarily have, you know, all that background history of what is an SBOM. So I think it'll be a nice little takeaway for people in the cryptography space. And then we're also going to be plan is to also then incorporate all that CBOM stuff into the general SBOM guide itself. So it'll be there'll be the short little one that we're working on, and then that will become part of the larger SBOM guide as well. Because we're in the process of revamping the SBOM guide for 1.6 anyway. The only thing that will not be in there is the attestations. There'll be mention of the attestations, but the attestations will absolutely be its own separate guide. So that's really all the update from me. Do we have any updates from anyone else on content or anything? Examples?
Not yet from my side. I speaking for me.
Okay.
Yeah, same here.
Okay.
But I think thank you for starting this guide.
Yeah. Can everybody see the directory where this is all published at on GitHub?
Yeah, it's guides/CBOM, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You got it. No, I was playing around between the last time we wrote a guide and now. Microsoft has removed support for encapsulated PostScript as a vector imaging format, and it's kind of messed up some of the build that we have with between going to Markdown to Word to PDF, and I've been spending entirely too much time trying to work around that. So I had all these unchecked in commits also in the guides directory, and all that CBOM stuff just kind of got buried in the mountain of changes that I have. So
what do you use to generate the PDF out of the Markdown?
Yeah, so what we do is we like the last guide, for example, that we did, we've got a build that uses what does it use? It uses Pandoc to take the markdown and then convert it to a Word document. We have a Word template that then has all of the styles that the target Word document will then have. And then we are leveraging, it's really crazy, but it's the only way we can figure out how to get it to work. We're then using Word's ability to generate PDFs, but only on the online version, to then generate the target PDF. And the reason why we're doing this convoluted thing is that every other like more direct path to PDF generation results in the links not working, or whether it's the external links or the so the table of contents, for example, at the beginning is automatically generated, and that's also linkable. And I couldn't find a way that actually worked with both the table of contents and the external, URLs actually being hyperlinkable. This is the only way that I've actually found to get everything to work. It's kind of a crazy convoluted process, but going from Pandoc directly to PDF doesn't work.
And if you use something like LaTeX or so in between,
I haven't played with LaTeX, so
that's actually how Pandoc does it
internally, right?
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
how does it internally? It does LaTeX and then PDF.
Yes.
Also, I mean,
Yeah.
LaTeX to PostScript or a PDF is really default for LaTeX.
I used Tech and LaTeX back in the mid-late 80s in university.
How quaint. Yeah, it's convoluted, and and it's crazy because even Microsoft Word, it has like multiple ways to convert to PDF, and I tried like the local way because I didn't want to rely on like a cloud service. But when you convert it like to PDF using the local way, again, the hyperlinks don't work. But if you use their cloud service, everything magically works. I don't know. So that's the convoluted build process that we have for our documents.
When it
Pretty
uses LaTeX between
sophisticated.
directly, then it's probably some LaTeX package that might not behave correctly or something like that.
I need an intern to just come and figure all this stuff out.
Yeah.
Seriously. So if you know of anyone, let me know.
But that is quite interesting because that makes my suggestion not that simple anymore, because in the Mitre context we wanted to write a white paper, and I was like, why not doing Git and Markdown and then use Pandoc to just simply, easily generate something? Because the others were like voting for Word and Box, and but they disagreed with Git and Markdown, so now it makes a little bit more sense, I guess.
Yep.
It will be Word, right? Pandoc to Word, and then
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the long way for sure. Yeah, we actually do something very similar to with the old SCVS, because we basically have a very similar build process to the SCVS documents, the software component verification standard. And but I was looking at that doc, and I think we were not using the PDF generation stuff correctly, because guess what? The links don't work. So the next version of that document that we create, I'll make sure that the links work. There's something else, however, who was it? I think it was the OWASP Juice Shop project. They were using something that I had never heard of, and they weren't using Markdown. It was ASCII doc or something like that. What was it? It was something different that I had never heard of before.
Okay. And ASCII art would be an option for the figures as well.
Take me back to the 80s, right?
There's actually a nice tool out there to run slides in a command line. It's actually called slides, and it uses Markdown to describe the slides, and then you can execute it as in a terminal. Like, it's really nice, but if you want to have pictures, that's complicated.
Yeah, or any kind of formatting, I'm sure, right? Yeah, yeah. Let's see. I can't remember what the name of that thing was called. I'll have to find it and send it over to you if I do. Yeah. Okay. Is there any, so we've got the let's see, the introduction, the use cases, the practical examples, the anatomy of a C-bomb, linking, so linking like, you know, from S-bomb to C-bomb type of thing, if we want to do that, and then attestations, how attestations kind of play a role in C-bomb. So that's kind of like the outline of the document. Is there any, like, for introduction, use cases, the examples I can pull, is there any excuse me, existing public documentation that I can probably rip out, or reuse to just to get this started? I know we were going to, let's see, I think we were going to use part of that OWASP blog post for the introduction, right?
Would make sense, I guess.
Yeah, it also contains an outline of some use cases there.
Oh, does it? Okay, I haven't read that in a while.
And yeah, otherwise the CBOM in the IBM CBOM repository, there is some text as well, especially about examples then.
Yeah, the examples will need to be, yeah, the examples will need to be updated, but those are good. So algorithm.
We had for use cases, we also had a Google Doc, I think, on Slack.
Oh, we did, didn't we? Or, yeah, I forgot about that. CBOM high-level use cases, yeah, okay. Got it. Yeah, no, this is good.
Yeah. Also, we then translated it more or less into the blog post use cases, I think.
Right.
Perhaps there is something more there to extract.
Discovering weak algorithms, quantum unsafe algorithms, certifications, algorithm configuration. Okay. Vulnerability and implementation versus algorithm. Oh, okay. Weaknesses we won't talk about yet. Algorithm supported on a given service. Do we support that? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess we do, don't we? Algorithm supported on a given service.
But that could be a good example, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that'd be a very common one. I mean, think of like network scanners like Nessus or something. They could describe the service, describe the protocols.
Yeah, and I think we had one example, or I had one that I can share and add there.
Oh, for that algorithm supported on a given service.
Yeah, there. Yeah, I have to get back to it. What it was. I think
Now the CBOM, examples, MD in the IBM repo. CBOM IBM repo. It's got some images and they're PNGs. Do we have the do we have the originals of this?
Yes, I have it somewhere. I can look it up. It's I think the original is PowerPoint, basically.
Oh, is it? Okay, all right. No, that's not really going to help me. Okay, what's the what is all the U's and I's? And what's the brackets? Okay,
Yeah, so
dependency type uses is marked with U. Dependency type implements is marked with I. What is the U in the brackets though?
U in the brackets.
Above library.
Library.
Let me share my screen. Yeah, so we've got application Nginx. We've got this library libc.so, and then we've got the U, but it's got brackets on either side.
I think it's just to highlight that this, I mean, this is libc. Nginx uses libc, so that's a dependency, and that's not crypto related, right? So I think the bracket there is just to illustrate this uses dependency type can be used to in an SBOM context.
Okay. So, all right, got
It's
it.
crypto related. Yeah, but I think now we changed. I mean, uses and implements doesn't exist, and there is instead I think uses is just depends on, right? And
And then provides. Yeah.
implements. So that
Yeah.
we change.
Yeah.
Just one quick note. I think that this is not the newest example MD. This is in another branch. We can still discuss about that graphic, but yeah, I think it changed.
What's the latest branch then? If I'm working off some of this.
1.5.
Yeah, release 1.5. Yes.
Or is it
Okay.
No, it's
23 commits ahead of main, so that's good. Is that the one, or is there more?
No,
I think so. Yeah.
We didn't merge it back to main.
Yep.
Right.
So now with the CycloneDX activity, can
Yeah.
to do that.
Oh, right. There's a different graphic here.
Mhm.
Uses implements. Okay. This actually makes a little bit more sense.
I mean, it's I don't know how we did it now, but the idea here was to have this kind of crypto internally dependencies not represented by the dependency thing that is supported by SBOM, but using this internal reference. I think that is the same thing we kept now for the actual CBOM release, where we have this internal references to algorithms or the things.
Right. So this all still directly applies, right? Because you got your algorithms, you've got your certificate, signature, public key. Yeah, this all still is very applicable.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
We just have this figure here in this version, right?
What's that?
So yeah, we just have we have this single figure here in this on this branch.
Good. Draw.io. Okay, perfect. You got the Draw.io file. We all the images that we have for the document are all SVGs. So I'll be able to convert this to an SVG perfectly. So that's great. Okay, good. I forgot about this branch. Okay. That is a lot of text.
I think the examples here are updated as well to this version. Be closer now to what we have.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it doesn't look that far off, actually. It looks, yeah.
It's based on the base that we merged then into the official. So
Right. I had a question, I think, on the OID. Let me just bring up, let's see. I don't have it. Oh, well, yeah, I can just go to the repo, I guess. Let's see, 1.6 dev, schema, JSON. Okay. Is this what we want for a description for that? Is there anything more specific? Or do you think most people know what that means?
it's a good question. I think what we could add is like the kind of sources where you could find OIDs for, even if they are not like standardized or like real. There's not this one authority, as I understood, Basil, but there are multiple different sources where you could maybe get the OID for an algorithm. So
Yeah.
you could add that.
I mean, yeah, there are some directories where you can view them, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so there are different pages where you can look them up. Yeah, this could be provided. Not sure if you otherwise have links in there in the descriptions.
Yeah, I can. We do this crazy thing with Markdown. So we put Markdown in the JSON descriptions, and then that renders, like when we build the documentation site, it it works. And then when we build the PDFs, it also is hyperlinkable as well.
Mhm.
Okay.
So if you want to provide just maybe a little bit more verbose, descriptive type of description, I can go ahead and just update that. Because I mean, I've seen these, like when you're looking at the properties of like a certificate, for example, I've seen these, but I don't know if other folks will actually know what this is or where to obtain it.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
There's
Kind of like what we did with the list of curve names, right? We just had here's a unauthoritative list of where you can get that information from.
Yeah, I mean, there is a wiki page, for example, for an intro, and yeah, for just the description.
Okay, so let's see. Was there any other images on here? I think that's the only one. What was this image? That was that old one. There's that. There's that. Okay, so just a draw. Okay, that's good.
And I mean, OID concept itself is standardized actually by
Right.
ISO and so. It's just, I mean, individual organizations and so on, the hierarchy, they can add then their own values, right?
Right. Yeah, I completely forgot about this branch. So there's actually some really good content in here.
But also some outdated ones that we
Right.
discussed. But yes, so we should definitely revisit those things.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, nice. Okay. Okay. All right. I think I have enough to basically piece together the introduction, the use cases, practical examples, anatomy of a C-bomb. I think I have enough information to piece those things together. And then linking and attestations.
Is there already kind of a structure or a draft for the attestation white paper? Sorry,
is.
attestation guide. Okay.
Yeah, there is. It's mostly written. It is, the same repository. There's a directory for attestations.
Okay.
And there's I think there's a section on claims, which will be kind of relevant. And there's a section, I think, for evidence and that sort of thing, which I think will also be relevant. And it would be really good to be able to create a use case, like a narrative where, you could theoretically use this for, like FIPS, for example. You could use it for any kind of other type of certification or possibly even, I guess, verification that maybe these algorithms do not exist type of thing, right? So if we can come up with some use cases for how we would use attestations in the context of a C-bomb, that would be a really powerful thing to say.
Yeah, it's true. I would definitely dig deep into the attestation part because I want to understand how that works and how we could use it. So
Yeah.
I would definitely have a look there. And yeah, I don't know, Buddy, if we want to do it together or if we want to split, how you want. Otherwise, I would definitely look in the attestation part.
Okay.
Yeah, feel free.
Okay.
Yeah, part of the attestation part was, I mean, from our original C-bomb, we had things around evidence, right? We had in the crypto assets, in the components, right? Then that we moved or that
Right.
we from evidence and attestation. So we might have something already then in the about it.
Yeah, we've got the evidence section for that. But for the attestations, this is more of a, generally this is used more for a, like a third party, attesting to the fact that something is what you guys claim it is, for example. So if you're a software vendor, you are claiming X, and then you have a third party that then comes in and verifies that what you actually are claiming is true. So we've got the concept of being able to state what those claims are, provide the evidence, any counter claims, counter evidence, mitigation strategies. For example, if maybe you are in fact including like AES 128, and maybe it's disabled by default. It's not actually removed from the product, however. So there's cases where you can come up with mitigation strategies. We have the concept of signatories. So being able to apply a person and a role to state that, based on the evidence that, that were presented to us, I certify that this, these statements are true with the signature and, all that sort of thing. So it's your typical kind of attestation thing.
Certification is, I think that's the use case, right, for that. Like FIPS,
Yeah.
you have your certificate, basically, your FIPS certified by NIST and the lab, and so
Right.
Yeah,
That would be a big use case. Are there any regulations in Europe around cryptography right now? Any standards around cryptography in terms of use?
I mean, yes. I mean, like agencies like BSI, and so they also have their they have their guidelines and their standards, right? And then about certification, there's also like common criteria that we also have in the that we also have in the list of certifications in CBOM. I think those are the main certifications, basically, and common criteria. It's kind of.
Is the BSI ones, are those in English or German?
German.
Do we know? German?
There's an English version as well.
Okay, yeah. I think there's an English version, yes. That's
Actually, it's in English as well. I'm not sure if it's, ones I've seen are. Not sure if they have both always, but I've always seen.
Yeah, I was just curious. Okay, so we've got the certification thing. That would be, we can kind of talk to the fact that, you could use this for FIPS, common criteria, whatever the BSI, requirements are, etc. Okay. All right. All right. Well, I think for next week's, or I'm going to try to get all this kind of done, or not done, but I'm going to get a lot of this, try to get a lot of this text in place today, because I actually do have some time. And I'll let you know when it's available for kind of review, and then you can, be the teacher and just kind of redline everything and propose some changes and that sort of thing. But I'll let you know once that's done. And then Nicholas, if you can let me know when the attestation stuff is done, or if you want to submit a PR for that, that's even better.
Yep.
Yeah, let me know when that's done.
Will do.
And then hopefully we can use next week's meeting as kind of our last meeting to then kind of review what it is that we have, approve it as a group, hopefully, and then spin down this group. We've got 2 other groups that are kind of waiting to be stood up. One for the Transparency Exchange API, which I know IBM is going to be participating in, and then another for what we're dubbing blueprints. Blueprints, you might be semi-interested in participating in that one. That's really the concept of being able to communicate what the application does or what individual components do. So, I mean, everything from, input validation to persistence to, hey, this thing is responsible for encrypting stuff or decrypting stuff, or without going into any of the details, right? So I think there might be some things that you might be interested in. Obviously, maybe not the entirety of it, but if you're interested in participating on that, or at least following our work at a minimum, then I'll let you know where that work is being done at.
That would be good, yes.
I got one update from OWASP. So last week, Andrew Vanderstock, who's the executive director of OWASP, reached out to me. I think it was on Thursday evening, and he's like, you know, there's the potential to have a grant from the National Science Foundation, which is in the United States, right? So there's a potential to have a grant from the NSF, and we think dependency track would be a really good candidate for this. So I read through the NSF stuff, I think it was on Friday, and I'm like, yeah, this actually fits really well. They were looking for different types of projects that could be applicable to scientific research. And the two things obviously came to mind were our support for AI and ML and our support for cryptography. And I read further on the other kind of requirements for the NSF, and I think our likelihood for getting a possible grant from NSF, it would be higher with the cryptography stuff, because it also had not necessarily requirements, but really good nice to haves if this work also led to future collaborations with universities and, you know, that sort of thing, right? And the lack of an authoritative source for curve names, for example, obviously came to mind, right? So anyway, I spent the weekend kind of answering a lot of the questions that our grant writer in OWASP had. What I kind of envisioned was not just being able to ingest a CycloneDX bill of material within dependency track and present the inventory, but then what do you do with that? Like, how do you start identifying risk in dependency track? Because, right, I mean, for the most part, I mean, the risk that dependency track has is really about vulnerabilities and outdated components, neither of which really applicable to CBOM. I think the entirety of the NVD, there's like one single vulnerability that is for an algorithm, right? Because it was, you know, malicious by design. But all the other things are really just weaknesses, right? Which are very, very different than vulnerabilities. So how do we surface, how do we calculate the risk? How do we present that risk in dependency track? I don't know. But that's kind of what the grant was meant to do. They did not finish it in time. It was due today. But all of that prep work that we did, they're going to be fleshing that out over the next 11 months. And they plan to reapply for it. Well, not reapply, because they didn't apply this time around. But they plan to apply for that grant if it comes around next year. So just to let you guys know.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, I had also today just a brief discussion with one of our managers who kind of was responsible for the strategy, and more and more is our view to look more on the dependency side, so understanding how to detect crypto in dependencies and dependencies of dependencies and stuff. And I mentioned then to him also that there is this dependency track. He knows already because, you know, we extended it for our use, but like also the community group, and that we maybe could also contributing there in some sense, helping, supporting, and also our goals, your goals. And he was he said that could be a great idea. So maybe, I don't know how it will resolve in the next weeks, but maybe there is also from our side some way to support this path.
Cheers. Actually, it came up as a topic yesterday in dependency track call. where, you know, Nicholas was, other people, C was actually pushing back, I think, saying that's a lot of work. And, but if people step up like you all, then, because I was saying, well, you know, just basically including, you know, it's dependency track, and obviously it was crypto dependency. So, you know, just this different type of dependency, just a good design. I mean, we're going to have different types of artifacts, assets, and components and services that we need a way to be able to filter out and type specify those things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so dependency track, you know, it's been around for 10 years now. And during COVID, we had these kind of informal kind of meetups on Slack, right? We would just kind of all hang out and no agenda, just talk dependency track or you know whatever. But you know we've because of the popularity of SBOM and this sort of thing, because of the executive order and that sort of thing, we've kind of started formalizing a little bit on not too formal, but you know more formal type of community meetings. And Melba over at IBM, she's been kind of leading a lot of this effort. And the first community meeting was, I think it was late last year, it was like November or December. And it was really about, you know, some of the future kind of things that we're working on, especially around scalability. I know, like, for example, IBM's got a really vested interest in being able to ingest many times more SBOMs than what dependency track is capable of, multi-tenancy, and a few other things. The last meeting was just a few days ago, and Melba, Caroline, and what was the gentleman's name, Matt? I can't remember.
Oh, I can't either. Don't put me on
Yeah.
the.
Yeah, no worries. I need another cup of tea or something. Anyway, they presented you know how IBM Office of the CISO actually uses dependency track, right? So that was a good presentation. A question came up.
But let's say it's like it's, but well, it's large, you know, it's, they have, you know, big ambitions that I've been pushing along for 2 years or more. But, you know, it goes back to having a hosted version central to that all of IBM could use. And it goes back to the multi-tenancy aspects that
Yeah.
Mark Simons was mentioning, right? But
Yeah.
they each use it individually. They all run it still in that container, that easy up container. That's how they still use it. So, yeah.
Hopefully we'll have a better way forward later this year, Matt. I'm hopeful. I'm really hopeful. I don't think it will be. I mean, it's going to obviously require a ton of testing,
Well,
but
yeah, I mean, so I will say that, you know, I'm glad that, you know, we have, you know, two resources and Melba as a champion for dependency track and the CISO. That's a great relief for me.
Yeah.
But, and then Caroline, you know, we started a new jumpstart session, so maybe we'll have a couple new developers to get to help out with a voluntary basis, at least for a couple months.
Yeah, it'd
And,
be great.
but you know, I was looking at, you know, we talked about including like the license libraries from Pretty and Mark that we donated last year. So, I mean, not that I've ever done it, but I did read some articles on how to do it, basically how to compile the Go stuff into shared object libraries and be able to use them through JNI. So it is possible, and you could actually bring in my SBOM utility as well to filter out or trim out data before you ingest it. So there are a lot of possibilities there that I'm curious about. I just don't know what I'll be permitted to do as my life has changed. You know, I mean.
Right. Yeah.
But can I share something with you? I'm very proud of something I thought of for weeks, and I finally made it happen yesterday. I'm gonna share something.
Yeah.
Share screen.
Just one question before. Is there some recording from the dependency track call?
Yeah, there is. Let me dig up that recording. It's on YouTube.
Thanks.
So I went.
Okay.
So I went to my rehab yesterday, and after I got back, I determined, I sat down and I had upgraded Photoshop to be compatible with my latest version of OS, and I created that graphic of, you know, yesterday. It took me 2 hours, but anyway.
Nice.
Oh,
That's
nice.
that's pretty cool. Okay, I like that.
Yeah, I'm
Bunch of
trying. I
parents
mean,
bill of materials.
so this is picking up where I left off. I was going to be giving an internal SBOM thing for my group early mid-December, and it was actually earlier, kept slipping. But now I'm going to get back, and then I would give it. Then once it was vetted there, I was going to give it to all of IBM. Anyways,
Okay.
to education. But anyway,
It looks like the top of a camera, like an SLR.
that's exactly what it is. Actually, if you zoom in, I actually created a special texture so that the texture of the background is actually a camera like plastic texture.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
interesting.
You see,
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
You have
That's
an
cool.
automatic mode as well, like in some cameras.
I'm
Yeah,
looking like for the aperture mode.
I was trying to figure out how to like incorporate these words as, some type of, I got some other ideas, but I need to get back to the content. So
Yeah.
I'm basically trying to set the story about how CISA's view is, what their view is, and how it's kind of narrow-minded, or you can infer that. But anyway.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to what I've always espoused, which is the use case-based approach, right?
Mhm.
So anyway.
Yeah. So no, that's nice, Matt. We're trying to come up with some new visuals to represent all this different stuff as well, because the world doesn't revolve around SBOM. There's all these other things as well. So, as you know,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, I'm waiting for
but yeah,
I'm waiting for the shooter up. There's supposed to be a study out for what new AI projects we need to get involved in. And I've been told I need to lead one of them. But
yeah,
then I heard that the TT study end date slipped to February 14th. So I've got 2 more weeks of cover to do stuff that I want to do.
got it. I posted the link to the playlist, the YouTube playlist in the chat window. So just look at
Thanks.
the latest one. Actually has um, the presentation from Melba at IBM.
Yeah.
On how this Office of the CISO uses it.
Yeah, we should definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
A question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. A question came up during the dependency track maintainers call, which took place after that meeting. And the question came up on CBOM, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not you would be, either Nicholas, Basel, whomever would be willing to present CBOM at the next dependency track community meeting. So I think the last community meeting, I think we had like 50 people participate, something like that, which was fairly good. We haven't been advertising it a whole lot, so that was still very good turnout. The videos will obviously be kind of the long tail, but it might be good to kind of give the dependency track community kind of a briefing on what CBOM is and kind of how we, see this eventually kind of, being supported in dependency track, so that they have, a roadmap of things to look forward to other than just, SBOM type stuff. So if you or Basil are willing to present at that, the presentations are usually like 20-30 minutes long at the most.
Yes.
So
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we can talk about it. How we can
Yes.
do on
the next meeting I think is
have
going to
some.
be scheduled for like the first week of March. We're not doing one in February because it's a short month. So I think it's like the first week of March.
There a recurring event that I can subscribe to because I only got like, I don't know, one day or even at the day the invite from Vinod and always missing the meetings. So
yeah, unfortunately we don't have a recurring event yet.
Okay.
But if I find a date, or if we nail down a date and time, I'll let you know. But it will tentatively the first week of March.
Okay.
So, you know, if you'd like to put together some slides, I'm sure you probably already have some slides that kind of talk about CBOM anyway. That would be good.
Mhm.
And then, you know, maybe myself or Nicholas can talk about, you know, how we plan to support it type of thing, or maybe if you want to go into that, that's fine too.
Yep.
So, okay, good. Yeah, we can talk about that later though. Yeah, that came up during the dependency track maintainers call. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, that actually be pretty good to kind of let the community know that this thing is going to be coming eventually.
Yeah. A thought that was just on my mind before you starting with your bullet point was that it's maybe good when we internally link also to the IBM CISO office to, you know, that using dependency track and want to use dependency track and how we could, you know, do something together, because they also have to get quantum safe at some point and do the crypto inventory stuff. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, like everybody does. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, very good. I know we're almost at the top of the hour. Does anybody have anything?
Nope.
Yeah, I don't have anything else. Matt, Basil? Nope. Okay. All right, gentlemen. Have a
All
great
right.
rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.
You too. Bye-bye.
Right.